What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using stock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Neil and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Oh, okay.
Hello,
The
what's
show's started,
happening?
at least for Nathan.
Hello, welcome. We're in a different Discord server today, so we are live from Flat Earth 24/7 Discord. Hopefully one of my moderators will share the link to this particular server, so you can actually join that server if you did want to have a chat with us live. In the meantime, any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
No, it has to be flat. How would you do that if it's curved, Nathan?
You can't. You've got to have 90 degrees to the position out in the distance. That means you've got to have a flat Earth between you and that position. That's how it works. Baseline's got to be flat.
And we are taking measurements from the surface, are we not?
Yeah, I mean, we've developed grid systems on the surface from those angles also. For example, latitude.
Earth is flat.
Earth is measured flat and developed flat, and the globe faith has come from those flat Earth measurements.
Yeah, so like the thing about it that confuses people is the word horizon, because in the context of celestial navigation, horizon isn't your limited view of the ground. The horizon extends all the way in a straight path from you as the observer taking the horizontal taking a vertical measurement. Horizontally, it goes out all the way to the point at which the star is 90 degrees to the ground underneath.
Yeah, that's
So
got to be
there's an
flat.
angle between you. Mhm. So horizon just means from you all the way to the GP and beyond.
Well, not exactly. You can use the horizon to establish a horizontal plane, but it can have the position that you're actually measuring. That's the GP ground position. That's the position at the zenith of the star. If you were at it, you would be lying on your back looking directly up at that star at that time. Well, that's the position that you actually want. That could be way beyond the horizon, Eli.
Yeah, we can I mean, we can use what we call the horizon, but ultimately what they're talking about when they're talking about a horizontal baseline, they call that the horizon as well.
I got a letter from someone via Messenger. I did actually put this in Master B. I don't know if any of you saw this, but it's somebody asking me to help, and I'm not going to read out the guy's name, but I am going to read out the part that I think is relevant from the message he was sending to the person that's asking me to solve this problem. Right? I'll just sort of tail into it, right? I rekindled an interest in astronomy in 2015 with a specific aim to determine what was out there. Much of what I've seen on the website, particularly JTOL and Media One, strongly suggests that our Earth is flat. Also, I can't see how a planet can maintain an atmosphere surrounded by what is described as a vacuum. Gravity is often given as the reason, but this cannot be correct. My one big problem, this is the bit I want you to pay attention to. My one big problem with a flat Earth situation, open brackets, despite yours and other evidence, close brackets, is how we can reconcile with astronomy with an equatorial mount. We seem to have to set the equatorial mount axis to our latitude. Despite hours and days of pondering this, I cannot come up with a solution that satisfies a flat surface with a North Pole in the centre. I must be missing something. Best wishes. Anonymous. Right, my response. The EQ mount sits on the equatorial plane. A flat Earth! The equatorial mount only works on a flat Earth. Latitude is a flat Earth angle measurement of Polaris. His objections require a flat Earth. No idea why he has an issue with a system, latitude, that is a flat Earth prerequisite and a mount that has to be level with a flat plane, the equatorial plane. I don't understand this man's objections. That was my message to him. And then I sent him this diagram. Let's just bring that up from Skype. I'm done now, just about in Discord, in case you're wondering I'm waffling on. Here we go. Here's the equatorial plane in a North Pole-centric system. This is you. This is a flat plane. His angles measured off it. It couldn't be much more simple. Now you can, if I go back to the diagram that's in my G Plus hangout, let's just do that now. You can wrap a ball around that, right? So the globe becomes a glorified protractor in the same diagram. So here's the diagram with a globe in it, and here's the diagram without a globe in it. The globe's just a protractor, because you're never standing inside a globe. But for this to work, that's how it's diagrammatically represented, so that you can at least have some token gesture to the globe. But it has to be working on a flat plane. I'm done.
Good
Have you
morning,
got-
good morning.
Good morning, Chocolate, and good morning,
What's
Adam.
up, Chocolate?
Can you guys hear me okay? Mic check?
Oh, great.
Yeah, man.
Oh, all right.
What's up, Chaco?
Cool. Yo, what up, fam?
We're in
How you feeling,
24/7
brother?
today. You haven't been here a couple of days, but we're in the land of misfit toys, otherwise known as Earth Awakenings, the last couple of days. And today we're in 24/7. We'll see how it goes today. Hopefully well.
All right. So every time I come in, I feel like every time I come in, we're in a different place now. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
24/7 is a great server, by the way.
A different place mentally, as the guy from the Globe just found out, when I'm like, I don't care if you get this or it's some big revelation that you need to fight against. I'm really here for the people who are the regulars in this server. Like Indigo, he would be my main target audience for the things I'm saying, right? Because that's the person I want to appeal to, and I'm like, yeah, old school techniques say, disprove the globe, show how the globe is a lie. Moving forward, just show it's a flat Earth, and that's how the globe came to pass. If you have to talk about the globe or to the globe, or someone's pretending that they've got a globe beneath their feet, show them how that globe came from flat Earth measurements. But better still, don't even mention the globe. Earth is just measured flat, and you can show how that is the case. It's a lot stronger position to move forward on than they lied about the globe. Who cares about
Well,
the
it
globe?
served its purpose. Debunking the globe served its purpose. Now it's time to move on because we have proof. Silver bullet proof.
So Gregory had a question while you guys were doing the intro for the show. Gregory, would you like to ask the question again?
Yeah, asking about cartography. I was asking concerning this controversy, right? Especially with the so-called AE map, because some people strongly are revolted against it, and then others towards it. So, in the effort to make a map, how does one do that? And make it accurately, of course, that it's usable.
We've already got maps that are used. I don't really understand your question. We do already use maps, and we have expanded out the known territories of what we call the world using a star-based system that has been butchered beyond the equator. But that is the system we do use. It's a flat angle-based system with stars that are above certain positions on the ground at certain times, and we know from documenting it over thousands of years where those positions will be at what time. That's how the mapping system does work. So I mean, like, how would you go about making a map? What, like the thousands that we've already got? Most of them have been distorted to all hell, so that, like in the pre-show, that guy can say, well, they're just globe projections. What, globe projections that came from angle measurements to Polaris to give you the latitude grid, to stretch that round a globe, to project it out on a tube, to cut it out and roll it out flat to give you a transverse Mercator projection with a square grid rather than a circular one. But that means you can say there's a globe somewhere involved, but the system is operationally and functionally flat in all instances. Has to be, otherwise it wouldn't work with the angles to the stars that it's all based on.
Sure, I understand that. My question is just I would like the process step by step explained to me. How does one make an accurate and usable map?
I don't know. I'm not a cartographer, so that's a different question. That I looked at. The first thing I got here was looking at maps with Martin, a guy called Martin Leitke, Mappy Martin at the time, now Flat Earth British, or Martin Leitke, and that's all we did. Look at the progress through history of cartography, which is, like I say, the earliest videography on my channel in flat Earth terms is about maps. But I'm no cartographer in terms of the complex process of actually getting the territory laid down on maps. I wouldn't know where to begin. Does anybody here know the basics of cartography? Adam, Chocolate? Can't answer, you don't know. Sorry.
Very well, we're all learning.
Indio might know if he's available.
Got map making skills, Indy? Answer him.
But yeah, he. I guess it was just like the whole process of taking the elevation angles to then project it onto uh, a sphere, and then flattened out again after the fact, or put onto, like you said, um, a cylinder, and then opened up like a scroll to be flat to give us the Mercator projection.
What I do know is it's a lot of work. So in terms of the map makers, one thing that they'll do, like with books, is insert intentional mistakes. Like they'll name a road that isn't really there as an easy reference to find if someone's copied their work, because that's basically all it involves. Work, accurately mapping out where stuff is a job. And someone who's gone out and looked at the coastline and surveyed every little nook and cranny and then put it onto a map is something that's then saleable. And they don't want it stolen, so they'll, like I say, in the maps, incorporate intentional mistakes so that they can easily spot if someone's robbed their work and then republishing it as their own. So yeah, it's a job. But all that's relevant to us as flat earthers is how the systems that are mapped onto these pieces of paper with undulations and topography and roads, how does that function? And how do the grids that are on those maps come to pass in the first instance? Well, by measuring the angles of these stars to give us these grids, and these stars are being measured off a flat Earth. That's the only bit that's really relevant to us. What I see is also relevant in terms of dissuading flat earthers from making themselves look stupid is to try and dissuade them from looking at things like Antarctica when having this conversation, and say, if you're going to speculate about Antarctica, you're going to end up looking like an idiot. Whereas if you describe how the new world, some of which will be living on ourselves right this very moment, and perhaps even still refer to them as new worlds, well, those new worlds were discovered using these mapping processes and stars that represented their positions over the ground at given times that we mapped and charted and produced the almanacs with, so that we could navigate our way home when expanding out the territory to the new worlds. Now, when you then show the cartography on the new worlds that weren't on old maps at all, you can get somebody to appreciate how the world has expanded in a flat manner, with flat maps and flat systems to do so. Then you don't have to speculate about ice rings and ice walls and domes and stupid nonsense that you can't verify. But every bit of a land that's now colonized will be mapped, and you can show that easily. but you can also show a 100-year-old previous map that doesn't even have it on the map. So that's a much better progress to show someone how the world is flat and has been mapped and charted flat and expanded out onto the new world's flat. And that's how our world has progressed without any questionability in what you state. The second you go to, there's a ring of ice around us and Antarctica's a wall rather than an island and blah, blah, blah. You just look like an idiot. To prove what you know to be true, and the expansion of the known worlds flat is a fact. How come everyone keeps jumping in and out of the G Plus hangout? It's some party I'm not knowing about, or what?
Nah, I lost connection.
I
had to
wouldn't even
jump
touch
in and come
that.
out.
Say again, Sydney? Is it Sydney?
Oh, I just said I wouldn't even touch that question, but yeah.
Have you got a party going on that we don't know about, Sydney? Now I'm asking a different question.
No, I like to take those people from that gang. So you're good. I don't want to bring that into it.
No, fair enough, fair enough. Say no more, say no more. We'll speak after.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
Just so you know, Joshua, you are now unmuted. If you'd like to rejoin the conversation, you can. Just try not to, be too disruptive.
All right.
Cut him some slack. His whole world's just been turned upside down.
I don't care. So what?
Not particularly. I mean, I just.
What part of wait a second. What part
guess,
of what
like-
Nathan laid out do you not understand?
Because, like, what I'm saying is, if you believe in flat Earth, then everything associated with globe Earth is also false.
It's the other way around.
So
Earth, it's not a
you
belief.
have to.
No, let me just correct that. No, it's the other way around. It's not a belief that Earth is flat. That's how Earth is measured. Now, those measurements are also used by you for your globe belief. The radius of a sphere Earth, that's 3959 miles, where do you think that comes from? Oh, you don't know. I'll just tell you. It comes from the angle to Polaris at its minimum. That's a flat Earth measurement of Polaris for your sphere radius. The church used it to create an idea of Earth moving around the sun, so we had a better idea of how those lights above us measured on a flat plane work. The church came up with that idea of the sphere. It's not actually something we're standing on, but when you take angle measurements to Polaris and extract out a radial value, you can infer in a mathematical model that Earth is sphere-shaped and moving around a sun in a sun-centric system that the church invented. Well, that invented system still measures a flat Earth to get radial values for your globe belief. Did you understand and follow what I just told you about the globe belief coming from measurements of a flat Earth for radius? Do you understand that?
Yeah, but was it created for globe or for flat?
Measured and can only be measured flat. Angled to Polaris. Still on screen for my audience. You take an angle that's along a flat baseline, and the position you're measuring of Polaris meets that flat, straight, flat Earth line at 90 degrees below the star. So below the star, you've got a plumb line drop from Polaris to the ground, yeah, straight down. And where it meets the ground, you measure from your position at the equator, some distance away, a teeny tiny little angle with 90 degrees between you and it. So that means there's a flat Earth between you and Polaris for the radial value of a sphere Earth. It can only be gained, acquired, measured if Earth is flat. You don't get a sphere Earth belief unless you can measure a flat Earth to get it. It's a lot to take in.
I mean, I
That's what I
don't
said.
know if you're understanding
Unless
what I'm saying.
You don't understand what I'm saying?
Like, what I'm saying is everything associated with the globe Earth is pretty much existence as we know it. So if you're going to assert flat Earth, then everything has to be recreated that you know of.
No, it doesn't.
Language,
No, it
science,
doesn't.
math,
This
all
was
that
the
has to be
same crappy
recreated.
about. This is the same crappy about last time 3 times. You seem to be like a stuck record. Do you only have one line of cognition that everything needs to be readjusted if Earth's not a sphere? No. For the 5th time,
Otherwise, you're taking
the
concepts
sphere
for globe Earth
faith
and
comes
making
from
them new for
measurements
flat
of.
Earth.
What's going on? Someone jabbering through me? What's going on?
yeah, him.
Sphere Earth comes from those flat Earth measurements, mate. The church used flat Earth measurements to invent the sphere. You following me?
Did you say we would have to redo language?
And
Yeah.
science.
If you found out that Earth was not a sphere? Well, what
Yeah.
if that was already done in order to convince you that Earth was a sphere in the first place? Right? Like, would they give you words like atmosphere? What the hell is that? What's an atmosphere?
Sphere shaped air, oxymoron.
Right. Not something that's something that's not possible, but they've convinced you that it is by taking a word and creating a word that's full of nonsense. Right? So it's already been done. The brainwash has already been set. Now you're talking about resetting it. Well, yeah, maybe some of that does have to happen, but we don't have to go reinvent the wheel. You know what I mean? Like everything, like Nathan was saying, everything is already based on a flat Earth. The only thing that's sprinkled on top of it is a little story about a globe. That's it. Anything practical, any vehicle that's in the air, flying around with hundreds of people on it, do you think they're using a globe to navigate? Come on.
No, they're using latitude and longitude, which is a flat Earth system. But people believe because they see that stretched around a globe, they think it's a globe system. Nah, it's an angle measurement to Polaris in terms of latitude that's only capable of being measured ever if Earth's flat.
Yeah, in reality, you're taking a level flight. Well, once you reach altitude, you're taking a level flight. The ground beneath you isn't moving, so for all intents and purposes, air travel, land travel, all travel assumes a flattened, stationary, non-rotating Earth with the majesty of the heavens moving about us above.
That's correct.
How about we poignantly, because everything that was said, of course, was true. How about we poignantly concentrate the refutation to refute his non sequitur argument? His argument is falsely insinuating that the globe cosmological premise is the necessary precondition for all knowledge. And that's why I keep saying it when I was back in 24/7 Waste Channel in politics. There's this habit where, because they're so devout to the globe paradigm, that in order to save it from any critique, they then try to make what effectively becomes a transcendental argument for the globe. That without the globe, you couldn't know anything. So the globe becomes basically God, right? The God is a transcendental necessary precondition for all knowledge, not the globe. But of course, for some reason, they've developed this habit all of a sudden. So no, it is not the case that the Earth must be a ball flying in a cosmic vacuum in order for us to know anything, including math and language. It's foolish. It's patently non sequitur.
Yeah, you just have to show them how you get an angle measurement to get things like latitude. Well, you need a flat Earth for those things, and they don't work on a sphere because you can't get angles from spheres. So, they're nonsensical, preordaining the globe as somehow being God, because no, everything must work with the globe, as he's told me and chanted 4 times at me. Yeah, we know, but that's why I don't tend to concern myself too much with the end user anymore. I'm more concerned with the people in the servers that are actually talking to these end users for hours and hours and hours on end. Thank you for the super chat, Sensual Goat. It says 4 more hours, please.
Yeah, they just rinse and repeat.
Gotta be a globe, gotta be a globe, gotta be a globe. No, it hasn't. It's come from flat Earth measurements, and that's why all your maps are flat. That's why there are no globe maps, and if it was a globe, that's all we'd have. But we haven't. We've just got flat maps, because we need them to work with angles off a flat plane.
Nathan, unless they could show me a way where they're getting angles from a curved surface, but that's an impossibility.
That's how we opened up the live show, asking if you can get an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline. You can't.
See, but that's what they're having a hard time understanding. They have to realize that all these measurements are taking place on the surface of Earth. Flat.
Yes, but as I say, when you say they, you're talking about the guy on the globe side. I don't actually see that as that's an end result of us telling the people in the servers that's why we're out and about, to go on the front foot and tell people Earth's measured flat. And when you get accustomed to doing it, when someone does bring up the globe, you'll tell them how their globe uses flat Earth measurements also. When, like in the, I don't know if it was in pre-show or after show or a live show, but when the guy's telling me about his ideas of where the globe works, and I parrot back to him how, no, your globe projection was latitude measured of a flat plane and stretched around a globe to then roll it back flat out again after projecting it onto a tube. So you've got a square grid rather than a circular grid. But that's flat Earth measurement through to flat Earth map at the end. But what, there's a globe somewhere in between that distorts it all to all hell? Well, okay, yeah, that doesn't mean it's a globe, because you can't get angles for the latitude grid on a globe. That's why the map's repositioned as a flat transverse Mercator, so it can work with angles still, because Earth's flat and has to work with angles to stars.
May I ask a question?
Monkey, was that? Yeah, go ahead.
I was just wondering, how do you guys rebuttal the Globers who say, oh, the plane uses autopilot and they don't have to angle the nose down when they fly and all that stuff? I'm sure you're very familiar with that argument.
It's a flat Earth proof.
Yeah, so from the Globers POV, when they say, oh yeah, well, planes use autopilot so that the pilot doesn't have to adjust for the curvature and have the nose angled down at 2 degrees or whatever it may be. What would your rebuttal be to someone who says that to you?
So,
What you're asking me
so-
is, how do I rebuttal someone who apologises for how flat planes fly? If you're not following the curve of Earth... Who's that?
Sorry, that was me. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chocolate, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say you tell them thanks.
Yeah.
Basically what Nathan was just saying. Like, tell
they're
them
saying...
thanks. Oh, so you're giving me reasons why your curvature is not negotiated at all in these aircraft that are supposed to be negotiating curvature? Thanks.
Yeah,
Welcome to Flat Earth, snacks in the back.
They're asking you to rebuttal their apologetics for how flat the plane is flying. It's flying nose up, not negotiating any curve according to your opponent in this scenario. Welcome to Flat Earth. That would be my response.
Thanks, that's good.
Anything else? Is that it?
All you really have to do is just listen to them, right? Eventually, they speak long enough. What they're going to be doing is, like Nathan said, mitigating reasons why the claims that they make cannot be claims that they make. That's all they do. That's what they do. That's literally how the globe survives. That's how they have no choice, right? So anybody who you ask, how's this plane flying over curvature? Well, yeah, of course they're going to tell you, it's so big, you don't have to, Like currently right now, we're being told it's inappropriate to measure the curve of the Earth, right?
Yeah.
We measure it flat. Why? Because it's so big. Oh, that's a hell of a belief you got.
For 10 years, we've been dealing with their apologetics. Well, why do we survey it flat and build on it flat? Well, because in a small scale, Earth's so big, we treat it as flat. Oh, right, and that needs a rebuttal. So we treat it and measure it and build on it flat. But that's only because it's so big. Yeah, screw your apologetics. We're dealing with it, building on it, treating it, surveying it flat, right? Yeah, but only because it's so big. No. What we're actually doing is building on it flat then. So why is it that we've spent 10 years dealing with the apologetic for how flat it isn't when it's being dealt with by them and us as flat? Well, they deal with it flat because it is flat. We deal with it flat because it is flat. It's mapped, charted, and measured flat. It's built on flat. It's negotiated flat. It's flat. What's that? How do I deal with their apologetics for how big it is? I don't need to. It's dealt with flat in all instances by everyone, always.
And they were telling us that from the beginning. We just weren't hearing it.
What's that?
Yeah,
the planes.
Papers that I've seen.
Go on, Spunky.
Sorry, man. I was just going to say, the number of papers I've seen where they say, assuming not a stationary flat Earth, like, right there in the heading. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's NASA.
Oh, that happens to come from the same people that give you beautiful cartoons of a ball and tell you that's where you live. Isn't that appropriate?
We have to
with
start.
that mention of the
But they were
citations,
always
right?
with flat, no? Sorry.
We need to start understanding as flat earthers that Earth is actually flat, and that is how it's actually dealt with. Because a lot of the people I tell this to recently go, "What? Nah, you're wrong." Like, no, I'm not wrong. The globes come from flat Earth measurements, and all inferences of a sphericity have come from flat Earth measurements also. The way we actually deal with Earth is flat, and they know it, and they tell us it. But then they apologise for how we wouldn't need to deal with it spherically because of blah, 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 blah. Therefore, we deal with it flat. Like, yeah, we deal with it flat. We need to start appreciating this as flat earthers and moving forward going, yeah, that's how we deal with Earth because that's how it is. And you do too, Mr. Globe Believer. Let's find out where your example leads us to a flat Earth prerequisite. That's a measurement of a flat Earth for you to make your globe fundy belief true. No. It's a paradox the moment you point out how the Earth's been measured flat for their sphere belief.
What does John
Concerning
say?
Monkey's
They
mention
need a
of the
flat Earth more
citations.
than we do.
He wants NASA citations. Is anybody from my panel in 24/7 Discord that can give Spunky Monkey a NASA citation that says Earth's dealt with flat?
I wanted to say this comment concerning a Monkey's comment. So yeah, when that fact is mentioned, that when you mention the citations from these professional institutions that teach their students to operate various machinery, especially traveled vehicles, right, through the air, on the water, on the earth, especially through the air, that they are being taught to navigate and operate these machines on a flat, stationary, non-rotating plane. And then the apologetic response, which is just an ad hoc rescue fallacy. Well, it's just to make the math simpler. Well, that's a digression from the point. Furthermore, you're insinuating that that premise is false within the curriculum that these students are receiving. And so that necessarily reduces that reply to absurdity. You're telling me these professional institutions are teaching their students to operate these machinery with their lives and the lives of others in their hands in a cosmological paradigm that isn't real?
Yeah, you said it all when you said it's easier that way. No, if Earth was spherical, it would be easier to deal with it spherically. It's easier to deal with it flat, is their apologetics, because it is being dealt with flat. Quick shout out to Ian Leahy for the super chat. I don't know if he wants me dropping in a minute, but the comment I half read earlier and left out the commenter's name, that came from Ian Leahy. So my responses and this diagram, if I stick it back up on screen, was boshed together for Ian when I'm like, yeah, the equatorial mount's working on the equatorial plane. That's a flat plane. And you're dealing with leveling the tool to that plane. Leveling the tool. Yeah, it's all dealt with flat. Anyway, thanks for the super chat, Ian. Really appreciate the support. People can't believe it and they have to make apologetics after the fact. But somehow flat earthers in the last 10 years have got caught up in defending the apologetics rather than welcoming people to flat Earth when they tell them how flat it is. Yeah, you're a globe believer and you're telling me so big it's flat. Yeah, it's flat. The functional bit, the measurement bit, that's flat, isn't it? Yeah, that's because it's flat.
The funniest part is they're trying to convince you that this paradigm that you believe in, we take that paradigm, even though it's complete opposite of what we believe, we're going to take that and use it because it makes the math simpler. Since when does it make life simpler when you take something for the exact opposite of what it actually is? Please tell me where people do that.
They don't, but
Except
Yeah,
for
I'm trying to
this.
walk. Yeah, I'm trying to walk across the corner to the corner store. So I'm going to walk in the opposite direction while doing, high level algebra, so I can get there.
Exactly.
yeah, so we deal with it how it's dealt with. That's flat. Regardless of their apologetics, regardless of their transpositions inside hell for star angle measurements. It doesn't matter. We're dealing with it flat, regardless of how they dice it up. All the globe is a glorified protractor for a measurement of a flat plane that gives us angles to stars and the mapping systems that we actually use to negotiate Earth flat.
That's exactly what it is. A glorified protractor.
But our empathy
I
is...
think I'm gonna try to go see if Humble H is available because he is in the live stream over on your server. So he had a question yesterday about what you were saying about the elevation of angle of stars
Yeah,
don't
I think we
change
dealt with
regardless
that,
of
Eli.
your elevation.
I think we dealt with it in the pre-show.
Yeah, thank you, Eli. Yeah, we
Maybe
now got a live audience, Neil. Thanks for deciding that the live audience doesn't get that.
Sorry.
So, okay. Well, I didn't know y'all talked about it though.
Okay, one of the principles that's being utilised in celestial navigation is that the sky and ground run parallel with one another. But further to that, the altitude that you measure a star with to navigate the ground flat does not change with elevation. That is to say that if you are in a boat and you are measuring an angle that requires a flat Earth, first and foremost, you've got to understand that Earth must be flat for this to work. You measure your angle. So you've got the star that's 1,000 miles away with an angle to it, and you've got a 90 degree from your dinghy to the GP position of the star you're measuring. Okay, everyone's clear. You've got a triangle with a flat base on the ground. Good, good, good. Now you've got a helicopter that theoretically can hover at 50,000 feet. As absurd as this sounds, it's just an example. So your helicopter is directly over the dinghy that you're measuring the angle. Now, just for simple numbers, we're going to say that the angle's 20 degrees. So you in your boat have got a 20-degree angle to the star that you're using for navigation. The guy in the helicopter, 50,000 feet above you, has also got a sextant. And he also gets 20 degrees to the star exactly the same as you do. That is to say that the sky, running parallel with the ground, will, by way of the majesty of the heavens, provide the same angle at all elevations. Therefore, as a navigation system with latitude and longitude, you can deal with the world with zero elevation changes when traversing the territory. When you navigate across the flat plane that we dwell atop, you can ignore all elevation changes because all horizontals run parallel with the ground and sky. Eye level will run parallel with the ground and sky. Surface level will run parallel with any horizontal you establish at any point at any altitude. How fantastic and majestic the heavens are in order for us to have actually expanded the known territory of our worlds thanks to this principle that we must understand and must utilize Earth as a prerequisite flat plane to navigate it. I'm done. Hello, John.
So are you saying that the stars do not obey our geometry?
Geometry is a description of shape. Well, if you're going to ascribe the triangle that I did to the angle below the star and your angle to it with a flat baseline, then by pure inference of standard geometry, you would, if you're describing that triangle and raising in altitude, assume if the position of that star that you're measuring has a geographic position as opposed to the ground position that we use. That is to say, it has a fixed location in the sky with a three-dimensional coordinate you can ascribe to it. Then as you raise in altitude, the expectation would be that the angle to that decreases as you raise in altitude. Akin to you standing next to a lighthouse and cricking your neck to look at it because it's 100 foot high and you're on the ground. Then you raise up to 95 feet and you don't have to crick your neck anymore. The angle reduces. Well, that doesn't happen with the stars. They do not obey that sort of principle that we would expect based on how everything else with a fixed altitude does behave. The stars don't. And because they don't, we can utilize an almanac that puts the position of the star above a piece of land at a given time, and it makes no difference how high you are when you measure the angle to that star. It's still above the same ground position in all instances. So you can have a universal almanac that doesn't have to ascribe height beyond your correction if using the horizon to establish the Earth as a horizontal plane of reference.
That's amazing.
It
The
is.
Earth is flat.
And we can only thank God that we've got stars that behave the way they do. Because we would have never found our way around if they didn't. Lucky
That's a
old
slam
us.
dunk.
So, yeah, it's a slam dunk. Earth's dealt with flat to this day, regardless of your religious belief in spheres that have come from the church's derivations of these flat plane measurements to give better predictive capabilities to the church so they know when Easter's going to come around next year.
That would be this next Sunday.
Good job. Thank heliocentrism for that. We're in 24/7 Discord today, John, just so you know. Our intention was to stay in Earth Awakenings for several days, but I was cast down and we were told to come elsewhere, so hence we're with you guys today.
I dig it, man. I dig it.
If there's a blazing row, the unpacking of said row will be tomorrow. I'll come back like I did with Earth Awakenings yesterday, rather than leaving it open-ended after we disappear a short period later.
There was a blazing row this morning.
No. But there was on 24/7, no, not 24/7, Earth Awakenings on Monday. So Witsit and I had to thrash out the ideas that Witsit was challenging when saying, oh, well, it might just be that our instruments aren't accurate enough to show that there's a difference in angle as you raise in elevation. Or, with an appeal to the future fallacy, his ideas that maybe down the line we'll find out if we can go higher than we have already, that the angle does change as we raise in elevation. So that had to be thrashed out because the basic principles of celestial navigation and the majesty of the heavens I've just described must be understood for you to in any way move forward with that principle of navigation and an understanding of how the globe came to be. Because that's how it was derived.
It wasn't thrashed out because he never conceded.
No,
But
he
you were kicked
flip-flopped.
out because he was wrong?
No, he flip-flopped. Oh, I don't disagree with any of that, would be the sentiment that he'd put across after disagreeing with it for quite a significant period. Hello, Brian.
Hey Nathan, how things? Hey everyone.
Good.
You were asked to leave because he was wrong.
Irish.
It's not wrong.
Hey,
It's
chocolate.
just ignorant. He didn't understand how the stars worked. That was blatantly obvious, and I did state that verbally during the discussion.
Well, John is asking if we were asked to leave because of that.
No, we weren't asked to leave at all. I don't know if that'll be the case in 24/7. We haven't annoyed anybody yet, as far as I know. I mean, maybe the Globe believer, but my lack of empathy hasn't been, in any way shot down as being unreasonable. So there we go.
So you weren't asked to leave Earth Awakenings?
No. What gave you that impression?
You did.
Me? I didn't give that impression. I gave the impression that you guys didn't want to return for a third day. We'd had the discussion and then digested it the following day, and now we're in 24/7 Discord with this beautiful
Oh,
bunch
you
of
were
people.
cast down by us. Okay, I get it. Though.
Yeah, you
I
specifically,
knew
Eli.
that's what he meant.
Yeah, definitely. But now where are you
I don't
guys?
think 3 days in a row. I don't think 3 days in a row they could have handled that. It's a wise choice to come here.
I thought Brenda was.
I was just going
on
to say, I
top.
imagine the question, what difference in questions that you must get between the two, but yeah, yep. Okay.
You guys are right.
I'm glad for it.
Other than being server muted, which was perfectly justified by the mod team because Neil couldn't shut up. But that's, good.
Here we go again.
No, you want to know that's going to happen. If I join a server and someone's having a really good discussion and they've got to their point, in this case, Indy, he's got to his point where he's like, you need to appreciate that you've succumbed to the control of the government and relinquished all acknowledgement of a creator. That's a pretty powerful point he's trying to get through. We come in and go, "Hi, we're flat Earth debate. We're here. We're ruining your point." No. Got to server mute that crap, and I'm glad they did.
That's not what we said. I asked, what's the scientific idea?
Yeah, Copernicus isn't science. Sometimes you let stuff slide, though. Indy didn't need that point ruining his actual point, did he, Neil, at that moment?
No, he didn't.
Right. He didn't read between the lines, so we got server muted because of you. And Eli had to go in and sort it all out for us and mop up the mess that he semi-caused.
But I thought Eli said we're server muted automatically until he goes in there and lets the mods know.
No, not me. I'm special.
Yeah, well, I had a conversation yesterday about, bringing you guys in. I was like, because I said, tomorrow or something. I don't know if I said tomorrow or just in general. I'm going to have Nathan come in here, and there were some objections like, oh, but don't they do their own thing? Yeah, I don't know if that will work over here. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's just like gonna be like anybody else who comes in here, but with people on the panel, like.
Yeah, we're like the guy that
And
comes
then,
around the school, that you book and the whole assembly hall gets called and he sits at the front of the assembly. Well, we're a bit like that. We're a group that comes and sits and says, don't do globe drugs. Just tell them it's measured flat. And at the end of the workshop, we'll say, right, everyone, say it with me. Earth is measured flat. Earth is measured flat. No, we're not going to do that. But that's the hope. The hope is that gets drummed in. Probably what we said when we came here last week or the week before, right? Same thing that we've been saying since the 1st of January.
Well, you got a big fan that's following you wherever you go in your
I was
server.
going to say, group huddle, whatever. That made me laugh, dude. That was really funny.
Who's that? Who's the fan?
The big fan is Professor Danny Faulkner, Danny57. Everywhere you go, he's there on Moot.
He was here before I got here. I saw him in the server before I got here, so that can't be true.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just before I joined, I glanced over who was in the room, and he was in there.
Well, he must have got wind
Yeah,
of
but
it.
he was in our server first, Nathan. He just followed you here.
Oh, I see.
Sorry about that.
No, my bad. I saw him in our server before I joined it. My bad. I take it back.
Yep. He's been following you wherever you go. He might be writing another book.
Every
QE, what
breath
up, bro?
you take.
That's a creepy old song when you know the
Don't ruin a
meaning.
good song. Don't ruin a good song, man. That's a good one. Come on.
You what, hun? You're searching for my phone?
Stacy, what up? It's good, Stace.
I
Sorry, man.
Sydney. It's not Stacy. It's okay. I get that a lot. But I'll
I
never
knew
say
it wasn't
sweetie.
Stacy, because if it was Stacy,
but I never say sweetie.
if it was Stacy, she'd be yelling at Nathan by now.
It's
Wait,
not
hold on.
Stacy.
It's not? Damn, my bad.
It's not
sound just like
Stacy,
it.
Elijah.
That's why I said
Right,
she'd be
right.
yelling
Ah,
at Nathan
thanks.
by now.
Thanks, Kiwi. Missed you too,
What's
man.
up, Eli?
If it was Stacy, she'd be saying, "It's not your year, Nathan."
No, there's another Stacy. Also, Neil.
So what was that then? I'm not looking at any names. I'm not. I'm working, so I can't see anything.
That's not a stick save, Chocolate.
But to Stacey's sentiment in
is
that
it, though?
regard, right? Saying it's not your year. What does your year mean? Well, it means I've taken it upon myself to go out to places like 24/7, or in that case, Earth Awakenings, to say, I can help you move the flat Earth argument forward because we've now got a silver bullet. Earth is measured flat. This is the most powerful argument you will ever use in your flat Earth career, and therefore it's worth me putting my neck out there and going and telling you about it. That's what I'm saying. Now, I can dress that up because I've been a salesman for many years with positive spin and go, this is my year, like I'm some bleeding politician. That's just hype. Just building a bit of a hype train. But for some reason, there's naysayers, in this case Stacey, that are like, it's not your year. What, my year to tell people Earth's measured flat? I'm pretty sure that people are quite receptive to that, and upon disbelief being gotten over, which is all I'm being confronted with, nah, that can't be right. What, just Earth's measured flat? Yeah, it is, yeah. Nah. Apart from the globe believers, believe it or not. They're the only ones that are like, yeah, Earth is measured flat, but that's because it's so really, really big. Or, yeah, it is measured flat, but that's because it's easier that way. The globe believers have given me more affirmation than the flat earthers have because they're in disbelief at the moment, but it's early doors. But I'll keep doing it till people say it back to me, which hasn't happened so far. I tested the water jokingly by way of comparison. Earth is measured flat. Yeah, that's my key to say for people to snigger and go, yeah, but it is. But people aren't picking up what I'm putting down yet. They will. But you'll keep seeing me, and eventually you'll get annoyed with me saying it, that you'll go, we'll only get rid of this idiot if we start telling him the fact that it is measured flat back to him. So he recognises that we've heard it. That's all I mean by it's my year. What, my year to go out and do a shed ton of work? Yeah, basically. But I can spin that positively. Worthy work. We all need to be doing this in the most sincere tone I can take. It is thousands of more times effective when you tell someone Earth's measured flat than say you've been lied to about how the globe you think you're still on is still going to be cognitively processed as I go through how it don't work. All that person's doing is going globe, 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 globe. If you just never even mention it and go, yeah, we measure Earth flat. That's how all the maps work. And then talk about elevation angle measurements to Polaris. If that's the only thing I leave like a dirty, horrible smell around these servers after the end of this year, that measurements to Polaris are the basis for all the maps, and they can only be done off a flat plane. If everyone understands how that progresses our mapping system, including the globe, if everyone understands that, they'll all be moving forward telling their friends and family, if they choose to do so, about flat Earth, rather than speculation about the Illuminati, speculation about domes, speculation about ice walls. Nah. Just tell them about how the maps and how they were developed and how the systems actually work. If you understand latitude, you can prove Earth's measured flat all day long. Because it is.
Wonder what Danny Faulkner thinks about that Earth measured flat.
He's still here.
He accepts it. He just thinks that it's measured from hell.
That's correct. He thinks the angles are coming from hell. Hell's angles.
Okay, so if you want to know,
They assure
Yeah,
as,
find out when his
just
new
for a sec,
book is published.
as an audience, if you want to know what we're talking about, on screen now, this is in Skype if you want to check it out, guys. It was the response I gave to Ian Leahy, just turns out to be quite useful. Here's the equatorial plane. Here's a North Pole centric system with you measuring angles. Well, that can have a globe wrapped around it, around your position in the center of the globe, which means that all the globe becomes is a glorified protractor to measure angles through, because you're not standing on the surface of the protractor with the nice pretty pictures of land masses painted on it. But what you are standing on to measure angles to these stars in all instances for all maps ever is the equatorial plane. Because that's how it works. That's how angles are measured. So here's you standing on the equatorial plane with these rings around you, which you can then take an inference of sphericity from. But they're just representing a two flat level plane horizontal system with the sky and ground. And how, from your perspective, objects in the far distance that are over lands far, far away, that would be a star over a piece of land far, far away, would appear to be close to the horizon, therefore a perspective view. But that isn't how the world actually represents itself. What the world actually represents itself is as two flat planes, one the sky, one the ground, and that's all you're dealing with. Go on, Brian. Go, Brian, go. Or don't.
I think he was going to yell at me.
Whatever gave you that impression?
I brought up Danny Faulkner.
What's wrong with bringing up Danny Faulkner? He's right there in the discussion. He's just not opening his mic or responding to anything we say in a voice chat. What is he going to say? Yeah, I appreciate that we make angle measurements. Say again, John?
Yeah, Danny Faulkner guy needs to be ashamed of himself. He stood in front of a congregation of God's people and told them that they measure angles from hell. Sir, you are a piece of garbage.
Yeah, but see, that's the problem. It's not that they're not going to accept it in the church. They will not relinquish heliocentrism.
No, you'll find out exactly what's going on with Danny when his new book is published. The Psychology of Flat Earth. That's his next book, I bet you. Some heap of nonsense hit piece. He's got no evidence for a globe. So what's he going to come up with?
Flat Earth angle measurements to Polaris to base the globe on.
No, I see what Brian's saying.
Yeah.
I see what Brian's saying. He's going to come up with some nonsense psychological book on why we think and believe what we believe. But we don't have a belief, we have a knowledge.
Yeah, look, there's some hippies documentary or book, you know what I mean? Another book or hippies documentary. And he's going to be very, very cordial throughout the whole documentary or book. He's going to try and speak as if he's speaking with respect, when really he's pissing down your back and telling you it's raining.
And with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. Obviously, a massive thank you to today's 24/7 Discord server for having us, and a massive thank you to my G+ panel for making today's live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!